Do I think Arken Optics is a great scope? Hey guys, I wanted to go over the Arken Optics EP4. I got it in the 6 to 24 by 50. I got it several months back, and the first one that I received, it had an extremely tight diopter tube in it, and the diopter, it was so stiff that the bezel on the front of the scope actually unscrewed, and the little glass piece in that became loose, and the O-ring that seals the optic kind of got some of the oil around the lens right there, and I tried to clean it off and it just wasn't that clear. So I reached out to Arken because, as you know, they have a lifetime warranty on it, worldwide lifetime warranty. So I reached out, contacted them, told them what was going on, sent them videos, and they wanted me to send it in. Obviously I did that. And they called me anyway. They called me right when they got the optic, and they said this was right when coronavirus was just starting to see the effects in China, and they were having issues getting some shipments from China for these scopes. So they said that they had several that were a blem that they could send out for a little bit of a refund. They would send me a little bit of the money back and send me a blem, but it still functioned perfectly. So I went ahead and did that. I wanted to check it out. But this is the first time I've really had an opportunity to take it out to the range. I've been pretty busy with work lately. But anyway, I wanted to do a box to bench shooting test. And if you're not familiar with that, this is kind of my cheaply made home version of it, but it's still just as effective. The concept behind it is you have a line that's perfectly parallel with the ground, and you have this line up on the top that's perfectly parallel with this line. So what I typically do is I just bend the cardboard box, and that's my first line. I get a level out and draw the line so I could easily see it. And then the concept is this is going to be your point of aim the entire time that you're shooting, is at the bottom right here. So like I said, you never move your point of aim, but this right here and this right here has to be exactly 7 mils up, and that equates to 25.2 inches. So what you have to do is you shoot 3 shots here, you dial up 7 mils on your optic, you continue to shoot here, you shoot your grouping up here. I'm doing 3-shot groups for this, but you can do a 5-shot, whatever you want to do. So you shoot 3 here, you dial up 7 mils, you shoot 3 here, you dial back down 7 mils, you shoot through here again. So as you can see, there's some bullet holes kind of scattered around, but let me go into a little bit more depth with that. So I put these over here so I can show you my shooting ability and my gun's ability. It seems like, so I'm shooting a 6mm Creedmoor RPR, and obviously with this Arken optic on top of it, but it really likes to shoot with a warmer than normal barrel. I don't know why. Ever since I got it, it's been like that. But you can see here, this is my first 3-shot group. This is the 3rd shot that I shot. And then I moved down here right after shooting these 3. I didn't have any break between. I shot these 3 and then moved directly down here and shot 3 right here. So you can see once the barrel heated up a little bit, the grouping size kind of shrunk pretty drastically. I wanted to show, how drastically different it really can be just after the barrel warms up. So with that being said, there was about a 5-minute delay from me shooting these to me gearing up and shooting the rest of this. So this is my first shot down here. This is my 2nd shot. This is my 3rd shot. You can see again, maybe the barrel was cooled off a little bit, and the 3rd shot was right where I was aiming just about. Then you go up to the top right here. So I dialed up 7 mils, but since this is the first time I had the scope on the rifle itself, I hadn't readjusted the actual turret to 0. So it was in the middle between 4 and 5 mils, and I started dialing before I actually looked at where the dial was. So because I started, I ended up having to count to 70 clicks on the turret itself to get up to 7 mils. So that obviously took a little bit longer than just cranking it from 0 to 7. But so this shot right here is the first shot of my 2nd grouping, and then the next 2 are basically stacked on top of each other right above this line. The bottom shot is right here, and the 2nd shot is right above that. So, it's not I wouldn't say it's perfect tracking for me, or maybe, you know, maybe the tracking is off based on the rifle, but it's pretty close. So anyway, after you shoot your group up here, then you dial back down 7 mils, and like I said, your point of aim is always right here. And then you shoot your last grouping, and you can see my last 3 grouping is just stacked on right on top of each other. This is after 9 shots. Obviously, the barrel's a lot warmer than it was starting out, and in my opinion, that's why the grouping was a lot better. Take that for what it's worth. That's just my own opinion. I'm not an expert. This is just showing me what the rifle does, and it's always showing me that once the barrel heats up, it gets better groupings. But even once the barrel was warm and I shot my last group, you can see that's about ½ an inch above the point of aim. So this is shot at 100 yards, and I wouldn't say the tracking was perfect for me. The tracking was fairly good, and I would say that the optic is still worth the money. The turrets feel fantastic. The glass is really clear. Obviously, they stand behind their warranty. Who knows if the gun was the issue, you know, with the grouping size initially and the tracking. Maybe that had some effect in it. Maybe it's my shooting ability. You know, I'm not discounting that. I think I'm a fairly good shot. I'm definitely not the best in the world. And finally, there was a gentleman that was 2 lanes over from me. He was shooting a really short AR, had a huge muzzle brake on it, and I was just getting blasted by the gas from him shooting. He was just throwing rounds down range, and you know, nothing wrong with that. But for me, trying to do precision shots, that's kind of annoying because you're just about to shoot, and then you kind of have an unnoticeable flinch or uncontrolled flinch that really does affect this type of stuff. So with all 3 of those things coming into play, you know, I encourage you guys to do your own test. Like I said, 7 mils at 100 yards is 25.2 inches if you want to do that. Box to Bench also sells their own targets that are much nicer than what I did. But they're about $3 to $4 per target, I think. I don't remember. It's been several years since I've looked. But do I think Arken Optics is a great scope? Yes, I do. I do plan to keep the Arken on my RPR for the foreseeable future. So I live in the Dallas area, and I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with it, but there's a shooting range southwest of Fort Worth in this town called Crescent. It's called Triple C. And it's a 2,000-yard range, so I go out there pretty regularly, and so I'm able to stretch the legs a little bit on this long-distance shooting. I do think this is going to be a good enough scope for me for what I do at long range for the RPR, the 6mm Creedmoor. I don't plan on changing it out, like I said, for a while. Even with what I saw here on the tracking, I still think it's a good optic for what I'm trying to get out of the rifle. And the barrel on the rifle is probably in the last 35% lifespan of it, so also that's something to consider too with this type of test. But you know, everything I've seen online is just people kind of ranting and raving about it, but not really showing you many real world examples of why it's good and why it's good at what it does. So I wanted to take this out and just kind of give my unbiased opinion on it. Will I buy another one? Probably. So for anyone that is on the fence about these optics, I would definitely say it's worth giving it a shot. I'm very, very happy with it, and I think you will be too. Hey everyone, thanks for watching the videos I put up. If you really enjoy the content, please consider liking and subscribing the channel, as it really does help get my videos seen more and help the channel out. Helps me purchase other things to review and pass on information to you guys. So again, thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed.